All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 9 of the pod. Today we're going to be talking about a few different things. We're going to be talking about Celtics Bucks at the end. We're going to be talking about first Derrick Rose. Then we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler, Luke Walton and the Lakers, and that report about Magic Johnson, and sort of some of the conflicting reports that have come out about that. We're going to make a quick note about Houston, and yeah. So let's go ahead and start this thing off. Derrick Rose, absolutely enthralling, exhilarating, exciting performance from him. 50 points, career high against the Utah Jazz at home without Jimmy Butler playing. And that's pretty excellent for a multitude of reasons, just because, Utah was one of the best defenses in the NBA last year, and they're expected to still be like at the very least a top 5, 7 defense this year, even if they're not quite there yet. I haven't looked at the stats, but even if they're not quite there yet, they're going to be a top 10 defense at some point in the season, more likely top 7. So the fact that Derrick Rose was able to go out there and get his career high against that, getting to the rim against Rudy Gobert, was just incredible. I remember particularly that one play he had on the baseline against Rudy Gobert, where he kind of did that like show Rudy Gobert the ball fake, and then kind of spun around in the pivot foot and just kind of like sort of like
Yeah, it was really
teardropped it
good.
in. That was just crazy to me. And I think the most crazy memorable play that he had that game was, you remember when he like got the ball like after like on a rebound or something, he
Yeah,
like
he did like what,
he
two
like went he
spin
went
moves?
behind the back
Yeah, did like two
first,
spin moves to
and then he
first do
he
it.
he spun like
Yeah,
past Dante Exum or something, and then he did like a no look
through the
one
legs.
hand scoop pass to Anthony Tolliver for an open three. I watched the play like 10,
Yeah,
15 times. It was so smooth. Like it was great.
then he had
And
his like step back, his not even like step back three, it's like his crossover three in the corner, just on some guy who still was guarding him. It wasn't like he was like someone like was who was open the three in the corner. He was literally some one on one step, like got it, crossed over, hit a three, and like
super
done.
contested, super contested. And like on 2K, that would have been a highly contested shot. And he made it. And his shooting just looked great. His three ball looked good. His mid range looked awesome. Just so many great things to say about him. Um, well, what are your thoughts on Derrick Rose that game, man?
It was great to watch. I was really happy for him.
Hmm.
I mean, like it's rare that you just like get happy for a player, and this is one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just knowing all he went through. Go ahead, Jimmy.
no, I just that same thing. You're glad to see that it's happened to some son of Derrick Rose, who don't put him know this. I think he's only 29 still. Like
Yep,
he's pretty young for an NBA player, like still, and this is like his career high. I think it was for him or what?
career high.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is career high.
and there you go. It's like that's what you think. Like he's come back from like both from all his injuries, and at the age of 29 has a career game for a team that you probably would never think he'd ever play for in his career.
It was really it was really something out of like a fairy tale, man. It was just excellent, like really fantastic to watch. Um, Unfortunately, in the game against Golden State, he scored a three, and he went out with ankle soreness, I believe. So hope for a speedy recovery
Yeah,
there, and hopefully it's nothing, because maybe he's really turned a corner. Maybe he's got his legs under him a lot, and you really hate to see a setback to that, because the guy was just excellent, magical to watch.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, it just I think it just it helps people to realize that maybe didn't watch him when he first came in the league how good he actually was. Like
yeah, for
when he
sure.
was like on, because that's like a game where like he would drive to the basket, get his layup, get his shot, and like he didn't take that many threes in the game. Most of it was him going to the rim or taking those mid-range shots that he was always accustomed to doing, and he still got his buckets. And it's just like it's crazy sometimes when you think about that.
Hmm.
That's it wasn't even him doing like like the Clay Thompsons or that. He wasn't shooting threes. He was literally just trying to get his buckets like he always did.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, man?
I mean, no, not really. Like,
All right. So shout out to Derrick Rose. That man is quite nice. Moving on to Jimmy Butler. He played against Golden State yesterday in a Timberwolves loss. That was pretty close for most of the game actually, and he didn't play against Utah um, with some general soreness, I think it was. I thought that was
Yeah.
really funny. Um, and there was that report that came out. I forgot who put it out, but there was that report that came out about him deciding that maybe sitting out sometime would be the
Oh,
best move.
Shams.
Yeah, and then he played against Golden State, which was interesting. I thought he was gonna just like straight up just
Well,
start
I
sitting
just
out.
assume he's gonna play not play back to backs, and he's gonna play all which area he wants to play on those things on those
Mm.
back to backs. Pretty much. That's what I kind of grasped with that.
Oh,
He
okay,
wasn't interested
okay.
in playing back to backs anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, he's just trying to like preserve himself for a trade, I guess.
Pretty much, because he wants to get traded like, more than anything. He wants to not be injured, obviously, before he gets traded for regular
Right.
season.
And I think like so yeah, there's all of that. So let's go around the horn and give like our opinions on how he's handling this. Jimmy, what do you think about like how Jimmy Butler is handling this whole situation so far?
I mean, he's handling the best he can as a player who's his voices opinion, voices the fact that he does want to be there, and he's made it. He did it pretty professionally that he didn't want to be there. It wasn't like he was like just trying to be an absolute like he wasn't trying to be a locker room cancer. Now he's already made it clear that he didn't want to be there. He wants to be traded. Please trade me. And the fact that you haven't traded him, and he's still trying to. He was even playing all his first games when he came back. Like now, you kind of expect this is what you really expected to begin with, that he wasn't going to play as much as they wanted him to, because why should he at this point?
Right.
And so I feel like he's playing this right, considering he's been pretty professional about it to begin with. When he said he told the owner he wanted to be traded, he still played when they first started the season when they hadn't traded him. And the only reason he's still there is because the coach is just stubborn. So
You mean
at
like
this point,
you mean
what do
like
you expect?
professional? You mean like professional like when he like bullied
I
everybody
mean,
else in
I mean,
practice?
he's not he went to like the media and was like, "I want to be traded." No, he told like the Timberwolves, "I want to be traded." Like they wouldn't talk to him. Like he's told them like from every side of the way, "I don't want to be here. Like please trade me." And even in all that, he still played even when he probably shouldn't. He didn't doesn't have to. He probably pull a Kawhi if he really wanted to, considering he wants to get paid and he wants to be traded. But he still played, and I think now that he's doing this, I still don't have an issue with that. I mean, he's still playing, albeit not very much. But if it were me, I probably wouldn't play, because why risk it if you made it known that you want to be traded and you don't want to play?
Yeah. So, thoughts, man?
I think he's not handling it. I think he's sort of given up on like the organization moving forward with trading him as soon as he would like. So I think he's just given up, and he knows that he's gonna be there so for a bit longer. So he's just doing whatever he wants to
Yeah,
do. Like
it's starting to look like he's gonna be there until February.
Right, and that's my point. Where it's like if they're gonna keep him there, then he can do whatever he wants. Like I don't see that as necessarily a bad thing, because he's already told them, I don't want to be here. Now you're basically forcing me to be here because you don't want to trade me.
and he also knows that they are getting offers. He
Yeah,
knows that they're
like
actually talking.
they've declined offers from the Heat. They've broken down talks to the Heat multiple times. Pat Riley has been alleged that he like called like Tom Thibodeau like an effer, I think,
No,
like
that's a
during.
lie.
That didn't happen apparently.
That didn't happen. That's a lie. But he did call Danny Ainge something though. I forgot. Just as bad.
Either way, like when you have these talks break down and then you're like expecting to play, it's kind of like, well, like what are you doing? Because I think it's now like gone on. It's both Tibbs and also the owners. The owner doesn't know necessarily what he wants to do and how this is going to go about. How he's going to go about this, because he said he wants to trade Jimmy, but unless that owner doesn't make a decision himself, he's not. They're not going to be a trade anytime soon, because Tibbs isn't going to accept any trade.
So personally, I think that Jimmy Butler could be doing this a lot better. Uh, I do kind of like what he did at the beginning of the season, playing well and like proving that he's still good. However, I think that the thing that they leaked out in practice about the practice where you use the third stringers to beat the starters kind of like proved that he was healthy. So like I kind of don't get why he didn't just either sit out from the start or pull a Vince Carter like this was suggested on the Dunk show that I was listening to the other day dunked on, but what's it called, like pulling a Vince Carter and just like not playing well, because like right now like Jimmy Butler is helping the team win, and like Tibbs and Glenn Taylor, like they can say what they want about like, yeah, we're trying to find deals for him, but clearly they're not budging on him until probably February, because Tibbs wants to make the playoffs, especially since like this is probably going to be his last year coaching the Timberwolves,
I
and since he wants to make the playoffs, having Jimmy playing well for them helps them directly. So why should they budge on any deals now until like literally the day of the trade deadline on February, where where some team that's contending or right on the border of like getting to their conference finals is one Jimmy Butler away from being like a conference finals like contender, maybe even a finals contender. You look at teams like maybe even the Heat, maybe even the Rockets, who are in a lot of trouble and need a guy like Jimmy Butler. Maybe they'll just get super desperate and maybe the Rockets will give up Eric Gordon or something like that. So they're hoping for that to come from sitting on Jimmy Butler for a while, and also while Jimmy Butler is there, he's gonna help them win. Chances are. And if Karl Anthony Towns can like play decently while Jimmy Butler's there, there's no reason they should trade him. Just based on the MO of the organization. So I feel like if Jimmy Butler really wanted to like put more pressure on them, he should just either not play for them, which like I don't know if they want to get into the whole like violation of contract withholding services, because that can just be a hassle, or he should either just play Vince Carter, go out there and just like chuck up like bad shots only. But I feel like Jimmy Butler just kind of may not be the person to do that. But I mean, in an ideal role, if if he really wants to get out of there, maybe that's what he should have done. So that's kind of what I think. What are you guys'
if he
thoughts?
just got paid though, I feel like if he just got paid when he sat that one game with general soreness, what's to stop him from sitting out more games and for the fake injuries? They're gonna let him.
I mean, like if you, I'm pretty sure like if he's just gonna sit out like one game here and there, they won't care as much as long as he like when
I
he
think they're
does
gonna
play.
make it to the point where he wants to sit out, where he's gonna pull like he wants to just not play, and he's probably just will he probably might take an injury to not play. I think because they're making this toxic by keeping him though, because he doesn't want to stay there anymore.
Right, and like, but I mean,
And
if he fakes an injury, then like the team can get like then they can like make it a case with the NBA and like get independent doctors to check him out. You know what I'm saying? So like because that falls within like withholding services of the CBA. So
Yeah, he cannot not play. Like he's also not allowed to publicly
again,
request a
he
trade.
just did not play though. Like the thing, they just literally let him not
yeah,
play
but
though.
one game, but like he sat out against Utah. They won that game anyway. And then he played against Golden State, so they're not going to make a fuss over one game. Is my point.
Right, but
If he sits out like several
everyone,
weeks, that's when they
everyone
start.
there knows that he wasn't actually had any real. He just didn't want to play. Everyone there knows that though, and we all know that.
Okay.
Maybe
That's
he actually had like he needed to rest. I mean, many players rested early in the season already. 80 rested. Gordon Hayward
right. No, and
rested.
I'm not saying they haven't, but I'm just saying
Kawhi
like
rested.
all those players didn't release something to Sham saying they're going to actually purposely sit out games,
No, he
and then he
just like
does it.
no, he didn't purposely. That wasn't released. Wasn't what was just said that he he's just missing games from general soreness.
But what Shams said was that this is a step to him to try and leave and get traded because he's going to sit out games. He didn't say anything about injury. He just said he's interested out games. It was called a general soreness when they had to call it when they told him like they had to report that he was sitting out the game though. But Sam said he was just going to sit out games from now on.
Well, if Jimmy Butler just says that outright that I'm not going to play, he's not allowed to do that. But if he comes up with an excuse and a medical reason, then yeah, he can.
Okay. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, we'll just see how it pans out. He's obviously still playing very well. It's going to be interesting seeing what teams throw at the Timberwolves to see if they accept. But I kind of just feel like at this point, like teams might just like back out and say they're not getting rid of him until February because there's also been reports that it doesn't seem like the front office exactly want to aren't super intent on sending him out right now because of the reasons I explained just now. So anyway, that'll be something to keep an eye on, and we'll provide updates there as they come. So moving on, Luke Walton and the Lakers. There was a report that came out from let me see who it was. There was a
It was
report
from
that came
Woj.
from Woj, saying that sources after a winless two-game trip, Magic Johnson's meeting with Luke Walton on Tuesday reverberated. I don't know how to. That's a hard word to pronounce. Reverberated,
Reverberated.
reverberated throughout the Lakers organization. The pressure's on the coach to win sooner than later. So, you know, um, Woj has had sort of a thing, maybe like a little bit of a grudge against LeBron, just because of the lack of ways he's able to get sources inside LeBron's camp, and by that I mean he can't really get those sources. So let's leave LeBron out of this real quick. So Luke Walton, so the Lakers right now, as we record this, are 3-5. Today, Saturday, November 3rd, they play the Portland Trailblazers in Portland. And tomorrow, November 4th, they play the Toronto Raptors at home. We don't know if Kawhi's going to play yet, but he might.
Pals.
So, if I'm being honest and like I'm looking at this through like a lens of kind of just knowing how the Lakers have been recently, they're probably going to lose both of these games. Probably. I mean, they can certainly win both of them because they're just kind of one of those teams that can lose any game and win any game, I think. Just because they've been in all of their losses. And they've had to like outside of the Suns game, like you saw that Mavericks game where they won, but didn't exactly. It kind of felt more like a moral loss per se. To quote Skip Bayless. Uh, so where was I? Basically, the point is like if if Magic Johnson is concerned about Luke Walton starting off rough with this team, having just added LeBron, and this team not really being built like a traditional LeBron team, so you don't have like a blueprint to build off of. So you can't really think like, so what worked for him in Cleveland isn't really going to work here because you don't have the personnel for it. You don't have like a Kyle Korver, a J.R. Smith, a Kevin Love, etc. So I mean, if Magic Johnson expects him to like make magic happen with this roster, no pun intended, uh, right away, then I think Magic Johnson's a little bit misguided in terms of that, especially like with the sort of signings they had this summer. So I personally kind of doubt this report a little bit, just because I think that like I think that Magic Johnson's got to be sensible enough to like think, okay, well, looking at this roster I gave him to work with, he's a new coach who hasn't worked with a guy like LeBron before. He's got it. He's going to be he's like easily one of the greatest coaching challenges that you can get, and you just have to be reasonable and patient with this stuff. So, um, I mean, I think Luke Walton will probably be fine. There could be until more rumors come out, more buzzings come out that Magic Johnson's really taking a look at Luke Walton. Uh, I'm not worried too much about this. There was also another report that came out. Bang, do you remember who was talking about how who was talking about how Magic was more frustrated with the lack of an offensive system? Was that it?
That was yeah. That
I
was I think Mike
yeah.
Trudell or
I also
yeah.
saw that dude. Yeah. Also was I also saw it was called that they weren't that the ownership is still like really behind him, or they maybe just said that, but they said that the ownership is still really behind Luke Walton. They aren't trying to make coaching. They're just really frustrated with how the season has gone so far.
No, Jeannie is very much pro Luke Walton. She was pretty close with him as with all the players during the Phil Jackson era. So look, I think that first of all, Magic needs to check himself that he did not get another center. Uh, like, and two,
Yeah, it's a problem.
it's not like any LeBron team that started off really had an offensive set right from the start. Even in Miami, where Spo's the best coach who coached LeBron in his career so far. In the beginning of the Miami games, like they sort of had the system, but then they threw it away, and then they just started going for LeBron and Ilgauskas pick and rolls because they used to do that in Cleveland all the time. So, like, this is a very new team, and you cannot. It's not like when Steve Kerr came with the Warriors, where most of the players were the same. It's not like that where he could immediately implement the system. Like most of these guys, they don't know how to play with themselves, with each other yet. Like I think Magic is wrong, and he needs to be more patient with this. And he was a coach before, and he was not successful. So I don't think I don't think he knows much about these things. You know, like it's just like how great players, when they become coaches, they're not that good.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the case here.
Yeah, it definitely takes a different mind to coach, rather than to be a great player. Cause like
Isn't
a
that
guy,
where like
a guy
Rob
like Phil
Pelinka was supposed to
Jackson
come
wasn't
in though?
good.
Isn't that where Rob Pelinka was supposed to come in though, to help like Magic Johnson try and like do that thing with the whole player personnel? That's where Rob Pelinka comes in and tries to be that person to help Magic, or no? I feel like that's what you have him there for.
Yeah, he is there, but
Magic.
I think that the idea to not go after another center was very much Magic's idea.
I mean, probably. I mean, ultimately, yes, it is. But I feel like Rob Pelinka should be in there saying, like, yeah, we need this. These are the things we need, and be as vocal as he can about that. Or else, I mean, what else is he doing there? Like, what we gonna sit with Kobe every game, and if that works out for you?
What?
No, he was like sitting with Kobe during one game, like Rob Pelinka was. I don't understand. Like it's and like I understand like Magic is also responsible, but it's like both of them are there, both of them need to be there, and Rob Pelinka's supposed to be the agent to be able to get these players that they need, and I think it's both of them. Where it's like, what is Rob Pelinka doing there? You
He's.
hear more about Magic than you hear about him. That's what I'm saying.
I think Pelinka's more there to bring Magic's idea into place, Magic's vision into place.
So, I kind of want to echo the point that Mang made about a backup center. If we're looking at so I'm looking on Basketball Reference right now with LAL's 2019 laptops lineups. So in terms of five-man lineups that have played at least 25 minutes together, all of the ones, just two of them, the two with a positive net rating. So there are three five-man lineups that have played at least 25 minutes together. There's Ball, Hart, LeBron, Kuzma, and McGee, and there's LeBron, no, not LeBron, Lonzo, Josh Hart, LeBron, Kuzma, and McGee. Oh, the other one was Ingram instead of Josh Hart, and then there was Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, LeBron, Kuzma, and Lance Stevenson. So out of those three, the two that have positive net rate have positive point differentials. Guess what player they have in them?
JaVale.
Yep.
Yeah, McGee probably. Yeah.
Yep. It's JaVale. The Lakers are just generally better when he's on the
floor.
floor.
So, can you tell me what is the highest minutes played five-man lineup in that?
The highest 1 minutes played is Lonzo, Josh Hart, LeBron.
I mean, how many minutes?
50.
50.
Yeah,
so we're what 8 games into the Lakers season.
It's not even that much. He's tinkering a lot, huh?
Yeah, he's tinkering a lot. Like he's still trying to figure out.
Like, cause that's your most minutes. That's really low.
Yeah, you can get that in 2 games easily.
Yeah.
So, and this is unusual because Luke last season he would like come the lineup with units. Like you have the starting 5, they play together, and then you have a bench mob of 5, they play together. You don't mix and match much. But this season is different. Like he's still trying to figure out what combination he wants to play.
Do you think it's him, or do you think it's some LeBron like trying to be in his ear?
No, I think it's him and the roster. I think he because there's so many positional conflicts. Like, do I play LeBron at 4 and do I bench Kuzma? Do I start KCP or Josh Hart? Or maybe should I just play my best 5 players and put Ingram in shooting guard? Like, he has to make these choices.
Yeah.
So he has to test them out.
So, yeah. Uh, Personally, another thing in terms of lineups, I kind of feel like Josh Hart should be starting over Brandon Ingram. I like the because right now, the Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, LeBron, Kuzma, and JaVale lineup is a plus 8.2 point differential in 50 minutes played. I think that's the lineup they need to start. The one that has Ingram instead of Josh Hart is technically has a higher point differential, but they only have 31 minutes together. So, I like the lineup with Hart at the 2. With Hart, Kuzma, and I guess Lonzo now lining out that starting lineup on the perimeter. I just think that lineup fits really well around LeBron, which it obviously does because of how good their point differential is, and it's all the shooting they have there with Lonzo being aggressive as a shooter, which is great, and then Kuzma and Josh Hart just being good shot makers in general, and JaVale helping out with the defensive presence. So it seems like Luke wants to start Brandon Ingram, but I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. What do you think about that, man?
I think Brandon Ingram is to start for the rest of the season.
Is a what?
He's going to start for the rest of the season.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think you can go back. Like, Ingram is too good at too many things to bench him.
I just feel like Josh Hart's the better fit next to LeBron, and like is just generally kind of a safer pick to start next to LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Just because Ingram kind of wants
Yeah,
the ball in his hands a lot, and he's more of a mid-range shooter than a three-ball guy.
Yeah, he is safer, but Brandon Ingram is just better, and
Yeah, that's the thing. If the Lakers believe Brandon is what can be what they think he's going to be, he needs to start. Like that's all there is to it. Like that's why I don't know why he wasn't to begin with. Like that's why you need to start. If you're going to develop him into be like a really good player down the line, because you're going to have LeBron forever.
I just kind of think Hart's been a little bit better than Ingram so far this year, at least in terms of like meshing in with everybody else.
Is Josh Hart older than him though, or no?
Is who?
Josh Hart is older.
Yeah,
he's
that's
older.
why I figured he wasn't like a senior when he went into the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that makes more sense to me than anything. That's why he's better. That he just probably knows something. He's played more.
Sure. I just feel like if you okay. Well,
I mean,
considering
that's
the
how I
attitude the
feel.
Lakers have towards this year, I guess it kind of makes sense. So I wouldn't totally mind Ingram starting. It makes sense at least.
I mean,
I mean, if you were to ask like beyond LeBron, who's the young core of that team, you'd have to name Ingram and Kuzma. And if you're gonna name Ingram, then Ingram needs to start.
Okay. So I get what you're
That's
saying
my
there.
that's my other thing on that. So you're calling him like a young piece. He needs to start that, like plain and simple.
Sure.
if you want to start Josh Hart so bad, I think it's better to bench Kuzma and play LeBron at power forward. Which, you know how there was this whole plan that LeBron is going to play more center. It's not playing out.
He's not gonna do it like this early in the season.
He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't
Like,
want to.
Kuzma's the one playing center, and that's not right.
Yeah, this is
It's
why you
just
need a
not right.
backup center because
LeBron is
all of your
no.
lineups with JaVale are just better. So it just
Yeah.
kind of shows how much you guys need a backup center.
How's Mo doing? Just got activated, right?
He like didn't really play that much during the Mavericks
Mo
game, I don't
Wagner,
think.
he was injured, so they said he was gonna come back, but he did not make any effect whatsoever.
He's also probably just not that guy at this point. So like
True.
the center and buyout market will
But
probably
at least
be.
he is a guy. At least he's a guy. At least he's a
I mean,
guy
that's
who's
true.
He's
I
a
feel the
body.
Sixers.
He's a body. Yeah.
I feel like you're hoping he can be Laurie Markkinen. You're hoping like that's like the hope you would see in him.
Dude, if he was Laurie Markkinen, like the Lakers are a serious contender in the West.
I'm not the hope. That's kind of what you people thought when drafting was that he could be a Laurie Markkinen, like he could be that stretch big that you have that's kind of coming over. So I mean, I could see it, but you just hope that he does well because I mean they don't have many like pieces to necessarily like just like get rid. I guess just to like trial and error. I guess you don't really have that sort of luxury at this point. You got to hit out these players.
Laurie Markkinen is really good.
Yes, no, I'm not saying.
What's it like okay center who just shoots threes? Because I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, the center buyout market should be good. Maybe you can get yourself a Tyson Chandler. Maybe you can get yourself a something.
I really want Tyson Chandler. I think
a Dwayne Dedman even.
Dwayne Dedman. Oh man.
Yeah, something like that. You'll the Lakers will be fine. They'll pick up something and they'll figure out the backup center situation. But yeah, Tyson Chandler is definitely a good candidate for getting bought out. And when Trevor Ariza
I'd
gets
trade
bought
for
out
him.
too. Oh,
KCP and 2 second-round picks just to make sure I'm getting him fast.
yeah, I would do that too. Actually, I would definitely do that too. Honestly, KCP has just been trash this year. But anyway, we all know that. So I think we've done enough about Luke Walton and the Lakers. Next we have Houston. Let's talk about them. They won against the Nets yesterday in a comeback win. They looked pretty awful in the first half, and then Chris Paul had himself a game. Also, Carmelo Anthony heated up. He went like 6 of 9 from 3. And James Harden is due back today against the Bulls. So, he panicked a little bit about Houston, but also another thing, Eric Gordon apparently has a bit of a knee injury right now. Let me look at the report. It said new injury issues for the Rockets. Eric Gordon is out with a sore leg. James Ennis questionable with a sore right hamstring. This is the hamstring that had been strained before he came back last night in Brooklyn. James Harden is available to play tonight in Chicago. So, Ennis, Eric Gordon, might be out. Okay, Eric Gordon is out tonight. So, hopefully Eric Gordon's gonna be all right. They're gonna need him, even though he has been kind of rough this year so far. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm still like not sure how concerned I am about Houston yet. Like I haven't seen enough of James Ennis to know if he's gonna be like a good replacement for Ariza at the 3 or anything. And I'm just not sure how to feel about how fixable their defense is and like how much they can get away with playing Melo, even if he's like shooting well. And how often is Melo going to shoot well, that kind of thing. What are your general thoughts on that stuff, man?
Well, first of all, they're 0-4 at home, so like you'd expect them to take care of these home games, but they did not, and something's just not working for them, and they need to fix that. Like, are they just not good enough as a roster? Like, it was Trevor Ariza that big of a difference? Like, I don't know. I cannot agree with that. I think it's more of them not having James Harden these past few games and missing out on Chris Paul early in the season.
Yeah, that's probably it. I'd hope that's what it is.
But like,
I think it's fixed though. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Already, it's like starting 2-5. Like, it seems like that they're not gonna be a lock for the second for 1 or 2 seeds.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm not sure if they're gonna win 60 even. Like even with like James Harden and Chris Paul, I just don't know if they're gonna be able to get back to being that same team from last year. Because I feel like a lot of people thought, even with the changes off season, they kind of had that same team from last year somewhere in them, and I'm just not sure about that at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was, I mean, just when you watch the game when they were playing, like, who, I think I forget who they were playing just last name, but they had Isaiah Harden staying on the court and they're trying to place that switching defense. Like, you can't do that with him on
Oh
there.
yeah, and like Marquise Chris, like it's not gonna.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you can't do that switch with them on there. Like, they're not going to be able to switch onto those guards and be able to
Yeah,
guard them.
like
They're gonna get blown by.
like even like I remember like on several plays Spencer Dinwiddie was just like blowing by these guys and like
Yeah,
even
and it's just like, what are you guys doing?
and even like Mike D'Antoni commented that like we're gonna have to change our defense because the switching thing we might have to get away from the switching thing a little bit. So
And I mentioned this last night, but in the chat, but in when Mike Tony was on the low post, just like it was like yesterday,
yeah,
they talked about how, do you think, not even the defense but the offense, like, do you think that the offense, how you played so much ISO ball last year, that people are now going to not switch as much with you and are not going to let you do that because you abuse the switch so much on the bigs when they would switch onto you that teams are going to realize that, not switch, and then you're not get you may not be able to get those plays as much, and then you might not know what to do because you're not used to, like, having to work around that because
right.
everyone pretty much last year let them go ISO on them,
Hmm.
and they haven't been as successful on that and
So
on the offense been this year. So that's
what
why
did D'Antoni say to that? He's,
he said that might be some truth to it because he said that a lot, like, that he doesn't like ISO ball, but that was what worked last year, and he's like, so I was okay with that because it worked and we scored a lot of points. He's like, that's what I'm okay with. He's like, so it's like there may be something to that maybe we are getting too predictable in that sense. We're playing too much ISO ball now, and
so
are just assuming that.
he hasn't prepared the team to move away from this constant iso ball.
And I don't think so. No.
So, like as Zach Lowe said, teams can keep on adjusting their defense and not allow them to get those easy buckets.
I think that because they got so much last year, the teams are just going to switch now and not, and because I think teams used to go onto the screens a lot, or they used to, like, kind of just like they used to not go onto the screen. They used to follow them, or now they will now. So they're gonna revert back to what they used to do against teams like that, where they're going to, like, follow the man. They're not going to switch anymore on these ISOs because because people realize that, and it's just this year. But I guess D'Antoni really hasn't adjusted to that, which is sad because he's a coach that's been in this league for a while. Do you think that he could adjust to this at this point? But
Well,
yeah,
I think he's been overrated as a coach, but it'll be interesting to see if like teams can, if this will continue on. That their problem is that their offense is too predictable now.
well, it also didn't their main defensive, like, assistant coach leave as well in the offseason. It's a
Yeah,
big hit to them. Then people are giving that credit for, at least.
yeah, that's not given much attention to yet, but I guess people are still waiting on Houston
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
to
I
get
get
all
what
that's
you're
these
kind
saying.
of
things
where I
going.
am with them too.
I mean, you have to wait because you think that, like, they can't be this bad because they have so much they have so much, like, just like talent, I guess you could say. Like, you have Chris Paul, you have James Harden, you have Clint Capella. Like, this team should not be like a 2-win team or whatever it is right now. That's unacceptable. Like, you expect that from a team with one of those players on it, be 2 wins right now, not
Yeah,
all three.
right. All right. Well, I think we got enough in about Houston. Um, I think Jimmy put it pretty well. We're just waiting on them right now, and we'll check back in them. Excuse me. Check back in on them in a couple weeks, see where they are. Hopefully, most of them are healthy, and hopefully, James Harden and Chris Paul and Clint Capella, the big three that had that amazing record last year, plays together for enough time so we get an idea of what this team really is this year. Because I still feel like we don't know because of their injuries and suspensions. So moving on, the last thing we're going to talk about today: the Celtics and Bucks had a showdown in Boston the other night. Was pretty crazy game, went up and down. Celtics going up. Kyrie getting hot in the third quarter, then Bucks coming back into it, and just it was a really good game. Some crucial free throws missed down the stretch, and yeah, we saw a lot. Uh, I think the Celtics jacked up like 55 threes. Like I remember it was just like jarring to me, like seeing them just like pass on like these wide open like layups or mid rangers just to like shoot these like
Yeah,
threes,
no,
and I'm just
that
like,
annoyed me a little bit towards the
this
end.
is
'Cause I was
like,
like,
I don't know,
what
I'm
do you?
just like,
This
this
is
is
a
like
bad shot.
this is the future of the NBA right here.
It
Teams
made
like
me
jacking
upset.
up like 50 plus threes a game.
Yeah. Jeez, that was just it. Made I was cringing at times because I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, we're gonna missing some of these. These are just bad shots. Like every offensive rebound, just
Like, you
down.
remember that one possession
What?
where like they got like where the Celtics got like 4 offensive rebounds or something, and like
Yeah,
they shot like
everyone
4
three.
wide
Yeah,
open threes, and they just
threes.
clanked all of
Yes,
them.
But hold
yes.
on,
Like, that's what you worry about when you see that. You're like, just take a good shot, take a 2-pointer because I
well,
lose that shit. Get down and go.
they made 43% from three. Those were all good shots. Turns out.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not saying they're all good shots. I'm just saying that like at some point, like when you're still playing these open shots, they just go put the lay of the ball back up and just go. Because I mean, some of the
Well,
shots were just not all good. Because it's like when you're tipping the ball out for every time for a three, like you can just literally put the ball back out. Al Horford and Aaron Baines came up putting the ball back up and getting that 2 points. Because I mean, I don't always think the rebound will always be there for that game like that. That's my point. Is like that's always not going to happen. Be able to dominate the boards like that. So maybe don't get a habit of pushing every rebound out for a three. I get you wanted to break the record, but don't get in a habit of doing that.
what was the point you're making about the threes, man?
they were good shots. Like they made 40 43.6% from three, and then from 2 point land they made just 46%. So it's not even 3% difference in accuracy.
Yeah, I mean
And I think
The Celtics can shoot it. That's true.
like the
Then they
threes
also
is what
broke the
won the
franchise
game.
record though for a point of attempts though in that game too.
Oh yeah.
It was like 55 attempts for the team.
I think that's what won them the game though, the threes, because you look at it, the Bucks only made
I
nine
mean,
threes.
yes, but that's also where the issue is that they need those threes in order to win that game, which also kind of shields the other issues they have.
Which one?
Kyrie's back. I mean, the fact that we said the 2 point when they're within the arc, they're not shooting that well. That's an issue. You should be more efficient on your shots within the arc at least.
I feel like a lot of those misses are caused by Jason Tatum's very suspect shot selection. I feel like the Kobe has really gotten to him over the course of this season. Like I can see it, like when I was watching him like isolate on these plays, and I'm just like, oh, Kobe.
This is what Lakers fans were like talking about when they saw the images come up. Like maybe Kobe's trying to dismantle the Boston Celtics from inside by getting into Jason Tatum's head.
Tinfoil hat on.
I mean,
Oh wow, they also gave up 62 points in the paint to the Bucks.
yeah, I think because I want to talk about the fourth quarter because that's really where the game happened. You look at it possession by possession. It really is the story of these two teams. The Bucks, they went to Giannis a lot. He posted up a lot, and then they went for these 2 point shots. While the Celtics, they were playing team ball, they were passing it around, and they were getting threes. And I think that made the biggest difference in the game. And because three is more than two, the Celtics were able to win barely by just 4 points.
Kyrie also had some pretty nice defensive plays this game.
True, Kyrie is playing better, but the defense as a whole is not doing as good as it could be. They're giving up a lot of points in quarters sometimes. It's like you're letting teams get back into games. like
Yeah.
with that.
Also, it's a
Like
bit
I think yeah.
it's a bit troubling
Go ahead.
for the Bucks that like they gave up all those 3-point attempts.
Yeah, the Bucks defense was not. The Celtics were able to shoot a lot of those threes because the Bucks defense just collapsed. Like they made the
Yeah,
bad
they
switches.
collapsed super hard and just like
They collapsed. Wrong double teams, wrong switches, wrong rotations.
hmm it was especially epitomized by that one possession that I was talking about earlier, where like the Celtics got basically 4 open 3-pointers and they just clanked all of them. Luckily enough, but other things from the game, uh, Kyrie Irving heated up a lot in the
He's
third
back.
quarter. Yeah,
He's back.
after that he got the back. All he needed was the back to school haircut, and he's back.
Exactly. All he needed was the haircut.
Yeah, he went to the Alfred Payton School of Improving Your Play, and yeah, he is looking like the same guy that he was last year, and he was pretty excellent last year. So if he can be that guy, maybe play a little bit more defense, then that's awesome for the Celtics to have that guy on your team.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
yeah, Gordon Hayward
yeah. I
also
don't.
looked pretty alright.
Yeah, it's games like this though that make me really worried about like when they're in the playoffs because they let up. They're accustomed to letting up double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, and that's something that the good teams in the West will kill you on.
Right.
So like that's the thing where like you can't let your defense like go that lax for that quarter like when you're up that much to that extent. Like you can't keep doing that. It happens so often to them. Like their fourth quarter is just scoring is atrocious. I'm pretty sure it's at least like it's way in the opponent's favor in the fourth quarter scoring. It's really bad. So
I gotta say
that's the
that
only thing I worry about.
this game might put the Bucks a bit on top of the Celtics because I said in the
I wouldn't go
um,
that.
in the previews that the Celtics in most of their key playoff matchups they will not have the best player. This is true with the Bucks, and I think that if the Bucks just fix their defensive rotations, they could have won this game. And
My whole thing is that I think Giannis doesn't have the basketball IQ that LeBron does. That's what you're kind of like not. You're not less. Yeah, that's what LeBron is because I think that's the thing that was killed them last year when they played LeBron. The basketball IQ is there. He can just will himself to be the winner. He's a former MVP. Like that's there. Giannis hasn't reached that point yet. I don't think. At least with his coaching so far.
he hasn't, but I think he's just much better than any player on the
No,
Celtics.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's true. But he's also not LeBron. I think that's what the point I'm trying to make is that they lost to LeBron last year when that was the matchup because that's LeBron. That's what I don't think it would be the same with Giannis though. I think they would still be fine against the Bucks in the playoff series.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all good points about the Bucks and Celtics. Semi Ojeleye was pleasantly surprised in this game too. He had that super unexpected like turnaround dunk like on the
Yeah,
baseline that I was like, whoa, like okay. Like I did not expect him to. I did not expect him to go up that high with like all those people around him. Shot 2 of 4 from 3. He's definitely he definitely projects as a very useful sort of a 3 and D switch system guy.
yeah. I mean, you hope that he can just be a 3 and D player that he can be there, like be on the court for you and be a defensive like body when you need it. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, when he makes plays like that, hopefully, he gets Brad's attention. Maybe he plays more. Maybe that helps. Who knows? But you always like to see that. I mean, it's always the whole like cliche with the Celtics that like they have like 9 stars on their team or whatever. But it's always good to have really good depth.
Right, and he definitely adds to that. Chris Middleton had a bit of a rough start to the game, but like there was a point in the fourth or something where he sunk like 3 straight threes that some were pretty contested.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is, man. Like they sometimes in the fourth quarter they just like they let those points up, and you can't explain it sometimes, but yeah. But
Yeah.
Chris Middleton was putting him up though. That's for sure. He was bringing buckets.
Yeah, and he's gonna have better games than this. So, yeah, I definitely think he's gonna conversation. He's gonna be in the conversation for All Star in the East this year. Definitely deserves it. Yeah, that's about all to go over for Bucks and Celtics. I think that'll do it for the pod. Was
You
there
guys want to
something
do
you
a
want to say?
quick live update from the Sixers Pistons game?
Sure.
Oh, the Sixers won, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
won.
So the Sixers led throughout the whole game. The Pistons never led once,
Yikes.
and Embiid
Oh,
had
yeah, he had a dunk on Drummond. I saw that on Twitter. He
Embiid
just
had
literally just crossed him, and just went by him.
Embiid had 39 points, 17 rebounds, and he said he kicked their asses. He kicked Drummond's ass, so he
Yeah,
called out.
yeah. No, he definitely called it Drummond. He was putting him to work.
Didn't he have some little thing with Drummond last year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. He has a thing with almost all the big centers in the
Yeah.
league. Honestly,
He's kind of like how Shaq is with all the new centers.
yeah. He was Shaq was like he wants to assert his dominance on whoever he wants to do it.
But Shaq had respect for other centers. It's just
Yeah,
I'm saying like
Embiid does not. Embiid does not.
he's Shaq with how Shaq is to the new centers.
Right.
Yeah, I like it from Embiid though. It's nice to see
Well,
in today's league where like everybody is like friends and friends forever and stuff.
also Drummond just played 20 minutes and
Yeah,
8
didn't
points,
he have
9
like
rebounds.
3 fouls in like the first half or something?
No.
It was something
I
like
don't
that.
know.
He was in foul trouble pretty quickly, and yeah, let me see how many fouls he had total. He had, he had 5 fouls for the game, and 20 minutes total, 8 points, and 9 rebounds. So it's quite the game for Drummond right there. Quite the game. And then Embiid was just beasting and feasting. So yeah, anything else about that?
No.
No.
All right. Guess
Ben Simmons 9 points, 5 rebounds.
Oh.
that's a bit disappointing.
Better than 1
Well-
point in a playoff game, though.
Yeah.
Better than 1 point in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's. I guess there's that. Ben Simmons had 5 fouls. That kind of explains it.
Fultz 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists.
He is doing so well, guys.
Landry Shamet has been a nice surprise for the Sixers, actually. Oh, Wilson Chandler played too. Interesting. Yeah, Landry Shamet's been pretty good. He's actually hitting on his 3-pointers, and that's useful for this team. So good for him. But yeah.
Yeah.
Fultz, yikes. I guess that'll do it for today.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. I'll provide some updates on some other teams, and yeah, we'll let you know then. See ya.